When the waitress' daughter spoke Japanese, the millionaire's dark secret was unveiled. The night air was thick with tension, as people gathered outside the old diner. A cold breeze swept through, rustling the faded neon sign that flickered like it was trying to keep a secret. Inside, the waitress, a troubled soul named Mia, was about to hand over more than coffee and pie. Her daughter, Lily, only 8 but wise beyond her years, had been practicing something extraordinary. Her wide blue eyes held a spark of mystery, and when she spoke, it was not in the familiar tones of English. No, it was a smooth stream of Japanese that rolled off her tiny tongue, breathtaking and eerie. As the patrons paused mid-bite, shock painted their faces. "What did she just say?" one man stuttered, a greasy fork hovering over his plate of half-eaten fries. The air crackled with disbelief. After all, how could a girl like Lily, blonde, fair, and emblematic of innocence, suddenly command such an elaborate language from a land so far away? Whispers rippled through the crowd, theories spiraled like a runaway tornado. There were rumors of old fortunes tied to foreigners, deals struck in the shadows, and now, it seemed, a connection needed to be unearthed. The night deepened, and on the fringes of this curiosity, a figure loomed. It was Harold, the millionaire whose name was whispered like a curse. Everyone knew his lavish parties, the way he bought silence, drowning voices with money. And those red flags were waving high when he entered the diner, a chilling smile plastered across his face that didn't quite reach his haunted eyes. He leaned against the counter, observing, predator-like, while a tightness crept into Mia's chest. She felt the weight of his presence, cold and calculating. Then came the moment that sent a shiver down spines. Lily turned her gaze toward Harold and spoke again in that musical, foreign tone. The diner fell silent, as if the world paused just to hear what would happen next. Something stirred in Harold's expression: fear? Anger? The lines on his forehead deepened as he glanced around, evaluating every soul in the room. As tension mounted, Mia was struck by a profound sense of dread. What did her daughter know? What dark threads were tangled in the fabric of their lives? Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads-up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. And just like that, the tension snapped. Mia's heart raced wildly as Lily continued, each word dripping with an urgency that felt like thunderclouds ready to burst. Harold's jaw clenched, and he shot a glare that could cut glass at Mia. What secret did he hold? What connection did Lily unwittingly unravel? The air grew thick with uncertainty as the diner held its breath, teetering on the brink of revelation and dread. And in that moment, they all felt that the world was about to change, but how? Mia's hands trembled as she clutched the edge of the counter, the wood digging into her palms like a lifeline. She was overwhelmed, caught in a storm of confusion and fear. Every eye in the diner was glued to her daughter, whispering secrets of their own, speculating what was unfolding before them. The knife-edge silence cut through her, echoing with the words Lily had just spoken. Harold shifted, unease radiating from him. "What are you saying?" he rasped, his voice thick, like he was choking on the words. His veneer of control was starting to crack, and Mia felt a surge of power. Lily's small frame seemed to glow with an otherworldly light, her delicate features morphing into a visage of ancient wisdom. She declared, her voice steady and melodic. The words hung in the air like a chilling wind, sending shivers down spines. Translation hung in Mia's mind like a smoke cloud: you are betraying everyone. It wasn't just a game of language anymore, it felt like an accusation, a grim reminder of hidden truths. Mia searched Harold's face, a mixture of horror and disbelief dancing in his eyes. The man who had lived above reproach suddenly seemed like a scared child hiding behind a mask of wealth. The diner buzzed with frantic whispers, patrons muttering behind tightly pressed lips. The man's reputation was at stake, people feared him yet craved to know the truth. "What does she mean, Harold?" someone called out, emboldened by the charged atmosphere. He turned slowly, his eyes cold and calculating. "It's a misunderstanding." His voice was smooth but edged with a tension that wasn't convincing. "Children play games, don't lie." Lily shot back, her once innocent demeanor disintegrating. "You hurt her, but I will make it right." The room tensed, her words sharper than any knife. Mia felt the walls closing in, constricting around her. What did Lily mean? Who had Harold hurt? She recalled whispers she overheard when she closed the diner late at night, rumors of dubious deals, broken promises, and people who vanished into the night, never to return. Had they been tied to Harold? The truth clawed at her, desperate to be freed, yet terrifying in its implications. Harold stepped closer, invading their space, and addressed Lily with a voice low and dangerous. "You need to stop. This isn't a game for little girls. Then stop hiding." Lily retorted, fists clenched. It took everything in Mia not to pull her daughter close, shield her from this man. It was as if Lily were the only light in a dark web of lies, illuminating the shadows where truth dwelled. The diner was electric, the tension like a live wire, crackling with anticipation. Just then, the door swung open with a violent thrust. A gust rushed in, carrying the familiar sound of sirens in the distance. Everyone turned, startled. In that moment, life outside the diner collided with the chaos within. The moment passed, disbelief morphed into dread. Mia felt it again, the claustrophobic weight of secrets begging to be unearthed. Could Lily's unexpected words unravel the twisted network of corruption? Or would they seal their fates, trapping them in this web of fear? "Who are you, really, Harold?" Mia demanded, her heart racing. But before he could respond, a figure clad in a dark trench coat stepped inside, eyes hidden beneath the shadow of a hat. Silence blanketed the room once more, thick and suffocating. The mystery had just deepened, and with it, a new layer of danger. A single question echoed in minds and hearts alike: who sent him? Anticipation ached in the silence. Something fundamental was about to break. The newcomer stood framed in the doorway, the diner's flickering neon sign casting a ghostly glow on his silhouette. Conversations halted abruptly, eyes wide and questioning. Who was this figure? The atmosphere shifted, thicker than the summer heat pressing on them from outside. Lily took a step back, instinctively searching for her mother's protection, yet an unyielding strength shone through her small frame. Mia's heart raced, an electric thrum echoing in her veins. "Is this a joke?" A voice piped up from the back, but it sounded hollow, merely a mask for fear. It was clear that no one was laughing. The man tipped his hat slightly, revealing a face lined with shadow and tension. His gaze swept the room with unnerving calm. "Evening, folks," he drawled, his voice smooth yet tinged with something darker, a warning. "You all have something you need to discuss." Gripping the counter tighter, Mia dared to break the silence. "Who are you?" Her voice came out shaky but defiant. "Someone who knows the truth," he said, his tone filled with an unsettling understanding of their fears. The weight of his words settled heavily. "And it's about time we talked." "Talk about what?" Harold countered sharply, his bravado only half sown. He shifted uneasily, every muscle in his body tensed in anticipation. The man in the trench coat stepped forward, his eyes twisted in a knowing look, glinting beneath the dim overhead lights. "This little girl has opened a door that should have remained closed. Secrets have a way of coming to light, and the shadows don't lie." At those words, the whispers in the diner resumed, fear and speculation bubbling over. Mia felt fragile, like a thin spider's web struggling to hold its shape under the weight of truth. She clutched Lily's hand, reminding herself of the fire that burned within her daughter, the light that needed protecting. "Do you work for Harold?" Someone shouted from the back, disbelief coloring the tension in their voice. The man smirked slightly, his face casting an oddly disarming charm. "The question isn't whether I work for him, it's whether he is prepared to face the consequences of his actions." Mia's stomach twisted at the implication. What had Harold done? Was it worse than the playful whispers she'd listened to late at night? She turned to Harold, whose once pristine facade had cracked under pressure, revealing the terrified man beneath. What did you do? She whispered, heart pounding. I swear, Mia, it's not, he began, but the man interrupted. Lily's words carry weight, Harold. He stepped closer, an ominous presence. You can't run from your mistakes. They haunt you. You know that, don't you? With the words hanging in the air, Mia felt a rush of urgency. This confrontation could either illuminate the darkness or plunge them deeper into it. If you know something, she demanded, her voice steady despite her trembling body, you need to tell us. Careful what you wish for, he replied, his eyes flickering over the gathered diners, sensing their fear. Truth can cut deeper than any knife. Suddenly, the flashing lights of police cars cut through the diner's windows. Sirens blared in the night, adding an urgent note to the charged atmosphere. Faces turned pale, murmurs turned into panicked gasps. Who had called the police? Mia, we need to leave, Harold said, desperation creeping back into his voice, but Lily stood firm, fully aware of the silence and the chaos blending into one. No. She declared. You can't hide anymore. In that instant, the room felt electrified, a collision of fate and fear. The unknown man's eyes met Lily's, understanding burning through the air like wildfire. Seconds passed, stretching into an eternity, as the truths gathered around them, pulsating with unspoken urgency, and then, just as the air became suffocating, the figure whispered, the choice is yours, Harold. Face your past or run, but the consequences will follow you. The wind howled outside, a perfect reflection of the storm brewing inside the diner. The unraveling threads of their lives hung in balance, teetering dangerously. Truth loomed large but was still painfully out of reach. One question remained, would they uncover the darkness before it engulfed them all? The doors swung open, slamming against the walls with a thunderous echo. The police officers stormed in, their presence igniting a new layer of fear among the diners. Clad in uniforms that stank of authority, they commanded the room with drawn faces and tense shoulders. Everyone, stay put. One of the officers barked, his voice deep and authoritative. Heads turned, eyes darted nervously between the newcomers and the man in the trench coat, who still stood at the center, his calm seemingly unshaken by the chaos that surrounded him. Mia felt a rush of panic coursing through her veins. The weight of confusion and fear pressed down harder with each passing second. She exchanged glances with Lily, whose face was pale yet determined. Something in her daughter's expression steadied Mia. This was not the time to falter. The officer approached Harold, demanding answers. What is going on here? He asked, brow furrowed, surveying the atmosphere thick with unspoken truths. Before Harold could find his voice, the man in the trench coat shifted slightly, the shadows around him pulsating as though alive. Harold has secrets to share. Secrets that have been begging for exposure, he said, watching the officer's reaction closely. Is that right? The officer replied, skepticism dripping from his tone. He pulled out a notepad, glaring at Harold. Then perhaps you should start talking. Mia felt her heart quicken. Would Harold spill everything? Or would he crumble further, dragging them all deeper into darkness? The tension was tangible, a tightrope stretched to its breaking point. Suddenly, Lily stepped forward, her tiny voice breaking through the heavy silence. You don't need to be scared, Mr. Harold. If it's true, you should just tell them. Gasps erupted from the crowd, disbelief mingling with admiration for her audacity. The man in the trench coat's smile returned, a subtle, almost proud glimmer in his eyes. Children often carry the greatest honesty, he remarked, as if speaking to the room while focusing on Lily. What do you know? Mia's voice came out in a fierce whisper, as she stepped closer to her daughter, instinctually shielding her. At that moment, the officer turned to them, his eyes narrowing. Ma'am, I need you to step back. This is an investigation. An investigation of what? Mia shot back, the heat rising in her cheeks. You can't just barge in here without knowing anything. With measured patience, the officer replied, we received a disturbance call. Reports of threats. So unless you want to be part of this chaos, I suggest you stay quiet. What disturbance? Harold suddenly shouted, his bravado flickering. I haven't done anything wrong. But the man in the trench coat held up a hand, silencing the room. Not yet, but it's coming. He glanced at Harold, who visibly paled, fear etched deep into his features. As the patrons leaned in closer, seeking any glimpse of truth, an eerie stillness wrapped around them, almost as if the world outside had stopped. The sirens that had once raged through the air faded into a distant hum. You don't know what you're dealing with, the trench-coated man warned, his voice dropping into a dangerous whisper. The past is clawing its way back, begging to be acknowledged. Harold will have to confront the truth sooner or later. A murmur surged through the crowd, eyes flitting from the officer to Harold and back again. Mia felt her pulse quicken. There was more here than met the eye, a darkness lurking just beneath the surface. What happened all those years ago, Harold? Mia's voice trembled, echoing the question shaking inside all of them. The man's gaze glanced at her as if assessing her resolve. I can explain. Harold stammered, his facade crumbling under pressure. The officer stepped forward, his presence heavy. Explain, then. Right now. As Harold opened his mouth to speak, the power abruptly flickered, plunging the diner into darkness. Muffled screams layered over each other in the pitch black, confusion and panic coursing through the room like wildfire. And within the consuming darkness, a single voice broke through. Rich and foreboding. Looks like it's time to uncover some truths what had just been unleashed in that dark diner. Would their secrets finally see the light, or would they be swallowed back into the abyss? The sudden blackness felt like a weight pressing down on everyone in the diner. Mia's heart raced as she clutched Lily's hand tightly. A chorus of gasps, followed by a few frightened whispers, filled the room as panic rose like a dark tide. Stay calm. The officer's voice cut through the chaos, though it wavered slightly. A flicker of his flashlight illuminated a slice of the room, revealing faces painted in a mix of anxiety and confusion. Shadows danced ominously, and the silence was saturated with uncertainty. Someone turn on the emergency lights. Another voice yelled, but it was drowned out by the falling footsteps of patrons scrambling to navigate the darkness. Mia fought the urge to bolt for the door. Instead, she drew closer to Lily. It's okay, sweetheart. I'm right here. In the murky quiet, the trench-coated man's voice dripped with that same eerie calm. Secrets can only hide for so long. The truth finds a way to emerge, especially in the dark. Suddenly, the lights blinked back into existence, dim, flickering, casting a haunting glow across the space. A collective sigh of relief swept through the room. But relief was short-lived. All eyes turned to Harold, whose face had transformed into a pale mask. Tremors visibly shook his hands, and he opened his mouth, but no words came. Harold, now. The officer barked, stepping closer, his flashlight beam pinning Harold like a spotlight on a stage. I didn't mean, Harold began, his voice a strangled whisper. I didn't mean for it to go this far. What do you mean? Mia pressed, her anxiety morphing into a fierce determination. She had to know. They all needed to know what this dark truth was. The trench-coated man took a step forward, eyes gleaming with an unsettling hunger for the unraveling. The past isn't just history, it's the anchor we cling to or drown under. Isn't that right, Harold? A ripple of murmurs surged through the crowd, a mix of curiosity and dread. Suddenly, the waitress, who had been silently observing the chaos, stepped forward, a storm brewing behind her eyes. Enough! She exclaimed, her voice growing louder as she pushed through the gathering throng. I know the truth, and it's time to share it. Everyone paused, captivated by her sudden defiance. What do you know? The officer interjected, still focused on Harold, but his attention wavered momentarily. The waitress turned to Harold, her features sharp in the flickering light. "You're not the only one who has been haunted by the past. There are families that matter more than your selfish secrets." Mia felt a chill at her words. What was happening? The waitressing woman glanced over at her, locking eyes with determination. "This isn't just about him," she said. "It's about all of us. About kids left behind, about justice." Amid the din of rising emotions, the trench-coated man laughed softly, a sound that sent shivers down Mia's spine. "Justice, such a naive word. Perhaps that's what you all need to confront, what justice truly means." The air thickened with tension, and Mia glanced at Lily, whose wide eyes reflected confusion and unknowing bravery. The girl couldn't grasp the full depths of the darkness swirling around them, but Mia sensed that it was closing in. "Harold!" The shout echoed loud as the officer leaned close. "What are you hiding?" Harold's face twisted, and suddenly, he lunged forward. "Don't you understand? It's not just about what I've done." At that very moment, the lights went out again, this time plunging them into an impenetrable void once more. Panic wrapped around the diner like a suffocating cloak. Confusion spread like wildfire, the sound of chairs scraping, feet shuffling in chaos. Then, amidst the engulfing dark, came a voice, clear and chilling, breaking through the shouts. "What if the truth needs to come from the youngest among us?" Mia's breath caught in her throat. What could Lily, the innocent daughter, know about the shadows of the past? With anticipation building thick around them, the silence loomed heavy. Would they discover the long-buried lies, or would they all be consumed by the shadows once more? The darkness held them captive, thick and oppressive, as each second stretched into eternity. Mia felt Lily's small hand trembling in hers, fear rippling through her like a shockwave. Then, just as suddenly as it had plunged them into blackness, the lights flickered back on, but this time, the atmosphere crackled with a new kind of tension. "Lily," Mia whispered, coaxing her daughter closer. "Whatever happens, stay by my side." She could feel the weight of countless eyes fixed on them, scanning, searching, consumed by the brewing storm of uncertainty. Right in the middle of the diner stood the waitress, her expression fierce, shoulders squared as she eyed Harold with an intensity that could ignite the very air. "You think you can hide with your secrets?" Her voice cracked like thunder. "We need to confront what happened, what you took from these families." Harold's distress was palpable. He was cornered, the walls closing in as the crowd shifted with uneasy curiosity. "I swear, I never meant for anyone to get hurt," he stammered, glancing wildly between the officer, the waitress, and the gathering crowd. But the waitress didn't flinch. "You're not the only one who knows about the accident." This revelation sent ripples of shock through the crowd. Murmurs ignited, loud and accusatory. The trench-coated man leaned forward, his eyes dancing with malignant intrigue. "You were involved," he crooned, dragging out each word like a thread unspooling. Before Harold could respond, a small, fragile voice cut through the chaos. "I know about the accident too." All heads turned to Lily. The tension in the room suffocated Mia as she realized what her daughter was about to do. "What did you say?" the waitress asked, leaning closer, bewilderment etched on her face. Lily stepped forward, her posture shifting from the scared child to someone who held a flicker of strength. I heard stuff at home. My mom talks to Dad, and he gets upset when she mentions it." Murmurs of disbelief filled the diner, a flurry of quick glances exchanged among the patrons. "What kind of stuff?" Mia asked, fear and urgency threading through her voice. Lily swallowed hard, her lips quivering, and for a moment, the room seemed to hold its breath, waiting. "They talk about people being hurt. About a little girl and her dad." Gasps erupted, shocking the air like glass shattering. All eyes narrowed on Harold, who blanched under the hot scrutiny. The waitress crossed her arms, a fierce protectiveness radiating from her stance, as the officer stepped back, caught between disbelief and the growing moment of truth. "Harold." The officer shouted, drawing everyone's attention back to him. You have to come clean. What happened to that little girl? The trench-coated man sidled toward Harold, a predatory glint in his eye. Your past is catching up to you, isn't it? What truth lies buried beneath your silence? You don't understand. I tried to forget. I tried, Harold stammered, nearly collapsing under the pressure. Then, without warning, the lights flickered again, this time plunging them into another stifling darkness. The panic surged forward, a tangible entity wrapping its hands around their throats. Stop! The waitress's voice rang out, sharp and demanding. We don't have time for this. The truth is too important. Mia clutched Lily tighter, her heart pounding like a war drum. The fear glimmered in Lily's wide eyes matched Mia's own. What truth could a little girl reveal that would shake the foundation of their reality? Why was this all spiraling out of control? As anticipation danced in the air, another voice disrupted the night. This isn't just about one girl. The words settled heavy in the eerie silence, inviting a new wave of dread. Mia's mind raced. Who was speaking now? What other secrets waited to be uncovered in the shadows that threatened to consume them all? The lights flickered back on, illuminating the tension-heavy diner once again. Mia squinted against the bright light, still feeling the cloud of fear wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. The tone had shifted, malice blended with desperate curiosity in the eyes surrounding Harold. What do you mean, this isn't just about one girl? The waitress's voice trembled slightly, though her stance remained firm. She stared at the shadowy figure that had spoken, trying to extract the truth from the darkness encasing them, but the trench-coated man stepped closer to the waitress, a sardonic smile creeping across his lips. Ah, my dear, this is a much larger story than any of us realized. A tale of betrayal, cover-ups, and suffering. The kind of tale that haunts families. Mia's breath hitched in her throat. The air was thick with unspoken accusations and buried secrets. Stop! Harold hollered, his voice cracking. You're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Desperation seeped through his words as he backpedaled from the realities clawing at him. The waitress's gaze sharpened. Then tell us. What happened to that girl? What did you do? A faint whimper escaped Lily's lips, and Mia squeezed her hand tighter. Mom, I'm scared, her daughter murmured, looking up, wide-eyed and trembling. Me too, honey, Mia replied, the weight of the moment threatening to crush her. The scent of grease and old coffee mingled with the haunting unease, closing in around them like the proverbial noose. Years ago, I tried to right a wrong. Harold's voice, now just a whisper, sent a shiver through the crowded diner. We didn't know she would end up. His hands shook visibly, and sweat glistened on his forehead. I didn't want to hurt anyone. A loud clang echoed from the back of the diner, making everyone jump. The waitress looked over her shoulder, her battle-ready stance faltering for just a moment. I've heard enough. People need to learn the truth before this goes too far. The trench-coated man laughed, a low, rumbling sound that crawled into Mia's ears. What about you? What role do you play in this mess? She frowned, sharp focus shifting to the man as unease turned cold in her stomach. Everyone was caught in a cycle of accusations, but who was truly culpable? From the shadows, another voice emerged, gritty and determined. You'd better hope the truth doesn't escape this room. It was the officer, pushing through the crowd toward Harold. We have to get to the bottom of this, or there's going to be hell to pay. In that moment, the tension shattered with the sudden shriek of Lori, a local girl, bursting through the door. Her face was ashen, eyes wide with terror. They're coming. We need to get out of here. Gasps cascaded through the diner like ripples in water. Mia's heart raced, sensing the shift in energy, the fear swelled into panic. The waitress's jaw tightened, fists clamping down as urgency surged. What do you mean? Mia asked, barely able to keep her voice steady against the impending storm. They've found us. They want the evidence. Laurie's breathless words sowed chaos. Everyone here is in danger. A collective gasp rocked the diner. Mia's stomach twisted into knots as she held Lily close, scanning the room for escape routes, searching for something, anything to quell the brewing storm of chaos engulfing them. Outside, a low rumble echoed, the distant thud of engines growing louder, glowing headlights blaring through the diner windows. Darkness lingered in every corner, secrets coiled like a spring ready to snap. Then came the threat hanging in the air. What evidence? What is this about? Mia cringed, straining to hear through the chaos. The realization loomed: in this game of secrets, they were not just revealing facts but inviting darkness into their lives. As the headlights drew closer, illuminating the diner's glass, Mia knew the reckoning was just beginning. What awaited them outside? And would the truth expose a darkness deeper than anyone could imagine? The rumble outside surged closer, drowning out the frantic whispers echoing around the diner. Mia pressed Lily's head against her shoulder, trying to shield her from the palpable fear flooding the room. When the front door swung open with a bang, the breath of cold night air rushed in, carrying with it an air of dread and uncertainty. The waitress, muscles taut, moved toward the door cautiously, taking slow, calculated steps. "We need to keep calm," she said, but her quivering voice betrayed her. She turned to the officer, eyes wide. "What do we do?" "Lock the door," he commanded, trying to sound authoritative despite the fear in his own gaze. He cast a worried glance at Harold, who was now trembling violently, his earlier bravado stripped away like the paint from a weathered fence. Outside, the thrumming of engines grew louder, and shadows loomed, dark silhouettes moving with purpose. Waves of panic washed over Mia. She fumbled for her phone in her pocket, heart hammering like a jackhammer. If she could just call for help. "Don't!" Harold suddenly shouted, his expression wild, fear etched deep in lines of his face. "If you alert them, you'll put everyone in more danger. They're looking for something, someone." "What do you know?" the waitress challenged. "What the hell are we involved in?" But just then, an unsettling laughter echoed from the outside, deep and sinister. The laughter slipped through the cracks of the diner walls like smoke. It was a sound so chilling it made the air freeze. Mia's eyes darted around the room, seeking any signs of assurance, anything solid. A shadow passed outside the window, and she froze, stomach twisting. "They want the evidence," Laurie repeated, her voice shaky. "They've been hunting it for years. We can't let them take us alive." "Evidence of what?" Mia whispered, a knot tightening in her chest. "What have we even gotten ourselves into?" Laurie's eyes met hers, pleading and terrified. "A recording of the night it happened. It wasn't just an accident." "Stop!" shouted the officer, stepping forward. "You're not helping." The waitress clenched her fists, her knuckles pale against her skin. "We all deserve to know." "Just say it, Laurie. What happened that night?" Laurie took a shaky breath, gathering the shards of her courage, but the words seemed caught in her throat. A sudden rattle at the door made them all flinch, a frantic pounding sending adrenaline coursing through their veins, and then it happened. The door burst open, crashing against the wall. There, standing in the blazing light of the diner, was a tall figure dressed in black. A man whose face was obscured by shadow. He held a gun, glinting ominously in the light, revealing the intent behind his presence. "Where is it?" he demanded, voice cold like ice. "You've got something that belongs to us." The room fell silent. Every soul gathered in that diner was trapped in their own web of panic and realization, pinned in place by fear. "Harold?" Mia breathed, eyes searching his face. "What does he mean?" "Whatever you do, don't say a word," he gasped, backing against a table just as fear consumed the collective air. The man in black stepped forward, and for a heartbeat, the entire diner seemed to hold its breath. Time stopped. The weight of secrets, lies, and desperation hung thick like smoke. Then, amid the chaos, another voice cut through like a knife. "I can't let you take that. Mia turned, and there in the corner stood a young woman who had slipped in unnoticed, a stranger, but one whose energy commanded attention. Fear radiated off her in waves. "I know where it is." The room exploded. More voices, more panic. Each person shouting, afraid of what would come next. But all Mia could think about was what lay behind those heavy secrets, and what other darkness would spill out into the open if it ever got free. Suddenly, the lights flickered again, plunging the diner into a half-light where shadows danced and reality became a murky haze. What could possibly happen next? The shadows held tighter, revealing glimpses of truths long buried, poised to explode at any moment. Are we all ready to face what really happened? The stranger spoke with a quiver that resonated deep within Mia. In that heartbeat, Mia knew one thing: the truth wouldn't just change their night but could unravel everything they've ever known, and perhaps shatter more than just their lives. What came next? Only the unveiling shadows could tell. The air inside the diner crackled with tension. Mia clutched Lily tighter, half-turned toward the shadowy figure, heart racing as the stranger's words hung in the air like a hand grenade waiting to explode. "I know where it is," she had said, but what was it? The man's gaze shifted towards her, dark and threatening, as if calculating his next move. The flickering lights above created an eerie strobe, casting distorted and grotesque shapes on the faces of the terrified patrons. You could slice through the anxiety with a knife, each breath a battle against the imminent danger. "Mia, stay back!" the officer yelled, drawing his weapon. His hands shook just slightly, but the threat demanded his control. Tension rolled like thunder in the distance, the engine roars outside seemed to beat in time with their panicking hearts. "Mia, listen." Laurie's voice broke through the chaos. "The recording, they think we have it." She pointed at the stranger. "But she's not one of them. She's one of us." "Shut up!" Harold hissed, panic etching deeper lines in his face. The last remnants of courage faded as he shot nervous glances toward the door. The man in black didn't care who was his enemy. He wanted whatever it was, and he would destroy anyone who got in his way. Mia's mind raced. A recording? Hadn't she heard something about that night? A crash, screams, chaos in the darkness. The night it happened. Reality pressed down on her like a heavy weight, each thought dragging her further down into a pit of despair. "Where is it?" The man's voice was low and menacing, every word laced with a stark, unyielding threat. "I don't have it," Laurie cried, tears glistening in her eyes. "You can't hurt us. We didn't know about this." "Liar." The man spat, long strides carrying him closer. The gun glinted menacingly, reflecting the panic-stricken faces surrounding him. "You know it exists, and you'll return it. Or you will all pay the price." Suddenly, the young woman, the stranger, stepped forward, determination overshadowing her terror. "Wait. I have it. I know where it is." She looked at Mia with frantic urgency, then back at the man, raising her hands as if she could diffuse the rising storm. The room halted its frenetic energy, all eyes tearing between the stranger and the gunman. What was happening? Who was this woman? "Who the hell are you?" Harold managed to mutter, drawing on whatever courage he had left. I'm Clara." She swallowed hard, her voice quivering but resolute. "I took it to protect us. I didn't know this would happen, that they would come after you. But I can help." A sudden crash reverberated outside, splintering the silence, and everyone jumped. Tires screeched, voices yelled. More shapes moved outside, just on the edge of the diner's dim light. The shadows seemed to thicken and close in around them. "Listen to me," Clara pleaded, darting her gaze to the group. "If we don't act now, they'll come in here and kill us all. We have to get out." "But how?" Mia felt panic spiking again in her throat. "We can't just leave. Stay quiet." The officer barked as he took point, moving forward and scanning the perimeter. The world outside felt like a thunderstorm brewing, ready to unleash fury upon them at any moment. Look! Clara took a step back, suddenly tense, pressing herself against the wall. The back door. We can escape through the kitchen and no. Harold shouted, desperation creeping into his tone. It's too dangerous. We can't just run into the chaos. The door rattled violently, echoing like a death knell in the still air. The man in black seemed ready to explode, his patience frayed. The laughter from outside echoed again, making bile rise in Mia's throat. Make your choice. His voice thundered like the storm approaching. Do it now, or you'll all become part of the story that nobody will ever tell. Mia suddenly felt the weight of her choices pressing down, every second a razor blade against urgency. The question loomed ominously: were the secrets they held worth the fight to keep them? In that split second, clarity pierced through the fog of fear. The moment had come. Run or stay. She looked to Clara, whose fear shone through the determination. Whatever darkness lurked outside was nothing compared to the monster hiding within their own hearts. The truth, was she ready to face it? The laughter from the shadows became a chilling reminder of what was at stake. As the door finally gave way to the unrelenting storm outside, the group was left with an undeniable question: how many more secrets lurked in the dark, and would they choose to unveil them even if it meant risking their lives? The diner hung in a fragile balance, a world suspended between truth and chaos. As the figure in black stepped further inside, the tension thickened like molasses. Mia held Lily close, feeling the rapid thump of her daughter's heart against her own. The urgency crackled around them, electric and raw. Make your choice. The man in black reiterated, his voice a whip crack of authority. Mia's mind spun. Secrets they had hidden, fears they had suppressed, and the weight of the past demanded to be known. This darkness, this tension, felt like a storm on the cusp of unleashing fury. Enough! The waitress shouted, finally stepping forward. Her anger galvanized the room, breaking through the cloying fear. We've all suffered from your sins, Harold. No more hiding behind wealth and threats. Headlines of regret and fear flashed in Harold's eyes as he glanced from the waitress to the man in black to Mia and Lily. You don't understand. It was an accident. I thought I had it covered. I never meant enough of your lies. Clara snapped at him, her fear giving way to strength. You took choices from others, stripped away their voices. Outside, sounds of chaos intensified, growing closer. Shouts mingled with distant sirens and the slamming of car doors, sending shudders through the diner. Panic rose, threatening to engulf them all. The flickering lights overhead cast ghostly shadows, mirrors of their turmoil. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Harold whispered, his voice almost breaking. I'm begging you to just let this go. Mia felt the storm of emotions inside her swell. She was tired of the lies, tired of being afraid of what the truth might unleash. Lily, sweetheart, she started, looking into her daughter's innocent blue eyes, the gentleness within them grounding her. Do you know what happened the night of the accident? Lily nodded slowly, words spilling from her in a tremor. I heard it, Mommy. I heard about the girl from the news. Gasps enveloped the room, eyes widening in shock as clarity began to thread through the atmosphere. What girl? The officer demanded. The sound of footsteps approached outside, heavier this time. We can't do this here, Mia implored, her fear now ignited with purpose. Lily is right. We need to protect the truth. We need to take a stand. Wait! Clara shouted suddenly before the shadows could close in on them. The recording. I have it hidden. The man in black shifted, a predatory smile creeping onto his lips. Then you have something that belongs to me. Wait for what? The officer snapped back. If we let them in, we won't just be exposing secrets, we'll be dooming ourselves. The door rattled violently again, and a crashing sound filled the diner as it swung open. Shadows poured inside like a flood, enraged voices demanding entry. Mia's heart raced. No matter what it takes, she whispered to Lily, we'll get through this together. The waitress stepped to the front, a warrior's spirit igniting within her, and declared, "We won't let fear tear us apart." She faced Harold, her gaze piercing. "Either you stand with us, now, or you'll be crushed by your own choices." "Time is up," the man in black cautioned, moving closer, gun poised like a judge's gavel. The energy pulsed as the patrons rallied around the waitress. "We want the truth," they cried, an echoing chorus born from fear and hope mingled together. With a share of courage between them, Mia took a step toward Harold, whose gaze flickered with the weight of impending doom. "You've been haunting these families long enough. This is your chance to break the chains." Harold fought against the tide of voices pressing in, but then something within him seemed to give way. With trembling resolve, he stepped forward, chin held high. "I will speak my truth. You need to face it." The trench-coated man's amusement faded, replaced by a predatory interest. Mia felt time freeze, caught in the gaze of uncertainty. Would he finally break the silence and expose the deadly secrets that had entwined their lives? Harold held his breath, and in a moment that was forever destined to be etched in there. "Memories," he began, "it all happened that night." Outside, sirens echoed through the night, weaving themselves into the fabric of their coming reckoning. Just then, an explosion of light filled the diner, and an army of police officers flooded inside, ominous in their uniforms yet heralding hope of change. "Get down!" an officer shouted. The man in black recoiled, shifting into defense, but it was too late. The room erupted into chaos, people stumbling back, fear and adrenaline mixing with disbelief. As Harold found his voice amid the commotion, every word would be weighed with consequence. The truth was on the brink of exposure, and the world outside could hear them. "Everyone, this is your chance," the waitress shouted, galvanizing emotions. All eyes were on Harold, and whilst uncertainty swirled, a new sense of urgency filled the air. This battle would not end that night, it was just the beginning. Their stories were now interwoven irreversibly, and justice for the lives stolen would no longer be buried in silence. That I end the chaos. Mia grabbed Lily and pulled her close. "Whatever happens, you are my light. We will walk through this together." With a defiance that pierced through the suffocating darkness, truth would rise anew, screaming for recognition as the sirens harmonized with the gushing tide of change. And in that diner, beneath the flickering neon lights, the past found its voice once more. But now, as the shadows retreated and truth began to breathe, there was one crucial moment left, one choice that would shape the lives of all gathered there. They had to choose. The weight of that decision pressed like stone, demanding answers that could no longer hide in the shadows. Would they press on into the depths of the night, armed with their untold secrets? Or would they allow the weight of what had been to crush them beneath its own sorrow, and all they could do was hold on, breathe, and wait as the storm loomed ever closer? The truth would set them free or finally, bury them all. Don't miss out. You need to subscribe now to follow along with the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button to support the channel and help us reach even more amazing people. Flood the comments section with your theories and reactions about this jaw-dropping conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this thrilling ending. Your support means everything, and we can't wait for you to join us next time.